this year. Best in college basketball.
We'll talk some Boogie Cousins in a second, but first, to see this last night, Bulls Pacers, Zach LaVine taking it to the rack and throwing it down.
Man, the Bulls are one Zion Williamson lottery pick away from being a really interesting team next year, the way they're rebuilding.
T-Wolves Thunder, Karl Anthony Towns cannot be stopped.
Big Cat C.
Oh, my goodness. There's no player that's improved more with the trade than having Jimmy Butler shipped out of town and off Big Cat's neck. He is happy.
Celtics and Warriors, Marcus Smart with a smooth behind-the-back pass. Gordon Hayward for the layup.
Credit to Marcus Smart this year. That's a great pass, but he was a historically bad three-point shooter. He was in Charles Barkley territory for volume three-point shooters under 30%, and this year he's got it up around 36. He's done a good job.
Last night, the Warriors were run off their home court. The Warriors allowed the Celtics to score 73 points in just the first half. Boogie Cousins, once again, struggling on defense, which led to frustrations, which led to a technical after he bulldozed Aaron Baines. He also pushed Jason Tatum and Terry Rozier. Cousins brushed off the incident after the game. Take a listen.
When you call that play silly, what do you mean? And when arms flail and we see guys, pushing and shoving, it doesn't seem like nothing from our view.
You don't play basketball. It was silly.
Silly how?
It was silly.
Shouldn't have happened? Or?
It was just a silly play. It's nothing. To me, it's nothing.
We like that emotion, but for us, it's all got to be, channeled towards, being productive and understanding that he's going to be extremely important for us to win a championship. And, as we get to the playoffs, as long as we can remove any distractions and anything that's going to get in the way of us, playing the way we want to play, that fire can be channeled the right way. So tonight, nobody minded, what happened out there on the court. The way that we were playing, it's nice to see some life from somebody. But as we go forward, obviously, just all perspective and anything that happens on the floor has to be shaped towards how do we, play A+ night after night. And in the playoffs, every possession is important, and we got to get there.
See, this is the thing the question we had, the thing that if they were going to worry about Boogie Cousins, this was it. Could his personality negatively impact the Warriors, especially now when they need everyone on the same page most playoff time?
Right. Well, we can't overreact from last night, though. This occurred late in the game. Aaron Baines, he's going to be scrappy with whoever he plays against. 100%. So Joel Embiid last year, we saw this a number of times. That's how he's made his reputation in the NBA. But Boogie's also got a reputation. Yep, they should have called a charge, the Jason Tatum and stuff. It was very, very silly. Now, what Steph said, and Steph is the calming force for this organization, Steph said it was nice that we were getting blown out, down by 34, at least a guy was playing with some fire. So to give the interview some type of context, it's late in the game. This game is over. They had already given up 2 32-point quarters and 1 41-point quarter. So this happened after all of this. So if it happened at the beginning of the game, I might be like, something. But this is who Boogie Cousins is. His biggest effect on the Warriors has been on the defensive end. And I know, Nick, you got numbers as far as, he's affected the offensive end. But defensively, that's what we know. This is one of the best shooting teams ever.
When you say effect, you mean negative effect, just for the audience. Yes. That he's negatively affecting both ends of the court.
Yeah, it's affecting because now teams are isolating him in the pick and roll, and they've always isolated Steph. Now they have 2 of them that they can isolate. Draymond is not the defender that he was before. So the Warriors, in this run that they've been on, we just forget all the time what a great defensive team that they have been. And right now, that's probably the biggest impact that he's making on the Warriors.
It is odd that he's actually been a much bigger negative on their offense than on their defense. He's been a negative on their defense. They're worse with him on the court than off. But it's a greater discrepancy as far as their offense with him on, off. But what we know is there's one team that has challenged the Warriors. It's the Houston Rockets. Now, the Celtics over the last 3 years are playing 500 ball against the Warriors. They're the only team other than the Rockets.
And it's basically been with 3 different teams.
Yes, the Isaiah Thomas team, the team last year that didn't have Gordon Hayward and only had Kyrie part of the time, and now the team this year. So it's been 3 different teams because Brad Stevens can scheme up defensively very well against Warriors, but Warriors aren't really worried about the Celtics to a large part because Celtics probably aren't going to be in the NBA Finals, and they can't play them until the NBA Finals. The reason Boogie is a concern point is not because of this. He's going to get a few technicals a year, if not a dozen. Listen, this is how he plays, and I agree. When you're getting blown out, it's good that he's cared. It's good.
Yes.
And Aaron Baines is an instigator. He is there to get under your skin.
Yeah, one of Nick's favorite players.
Oh, my God. The Celtics always have a guy that kind of looks like Aaron Baines that's out there playing cheap basketball. Neither here nor there. The point is, for Boogie, the only team that's really threatened the Warriors is the Rockets. They're 8-5. The Rockets are against the Warriors over the last 2 years. They're 9-8 for the Rockets or against the Warriors over the last 3 years. They have given the Warriors trouble. And how do the Rockets play basketball? Isolation, pick and roll.
High pick and roll, double high pick and roll.
And so now, when Boogie's on the court, your best player is Steph. You've got to have him on the court as much as possible. If Boogie's on the court as well, there's 2 guys, to your point, that they will go and hunt. And if you can get in a pick and roll situation where both of them are involved in it, the Warriors defense is drawing dead. And the other concerning point is, since Boogie came back, since Boogie started playing with the team, yeah, he has a terrible net rating. The Warriors are awesome with him on the bench, and they're being outscored with him on the court. But the other thing that's happened is since Boogie came back, Draymond Green's production has been destroyed. They have been outscored with Draymond on the court, and they've been killing people with Draymond on the bench. So for some reason, Draymond, who, even though he wasn't shooting well early in the year, the team was much better with him than without him. Since Boogie came back, they are better when Draymond's not on the court and when Boogie's not on the court. That's the real concern for the Warriors.
And clearly none of this bodes well for a guy who's looking for a max deal next year and wanted to spend the season showing people what he could do. But one other note, one of the other things Steve Kerr said, besides playing with anger, was he wished this team would play with more passion and more intensity. And while maybe it wasn't exactly the way you wanted to see it, getting a technical foul, maybe it shows the rest of the guys on this team. We have to have a little bit of that intensity, even when we're getting blown out, if you want to take this.
Yeah, I like Steve Kerr as a coach, but the Warriors, they don't get their marching orders from him. When they decide to play, it's when they collectively come to the gym. And last night, they did miss Clay. But this Boston Celtics team also, man, they had one of those games. They had one of those types of nights from the beginning. Warriors never had the lead, down by as much as 34 points. It was lopsided all night.
Boogie's going to bring the fire, for good or for bad. And it doesn't always necessarily, where he's going to aim that fire at. So I understand that element of it. And even when you're getting blown out, he's still intense in the game. The question for the Warriors, and I think it'll be fine. I overwhelmingly feel it'll be fine. The question for the Warriors is, was it too much of a good thing? Was adding Kevin Durant, that star, one thing? But when you've won back-to-back titles, you've won 7 of your 8 series in 5 games or less, was adding another talented player that's going to have needs and wants and things like that, is that going to end up being a negative?
And they're trying to do something that we haven't seen someone do since the Celtics.
Right, go to 5 straight NBA Finals. And when he says Celtics, Celtics. No team's done that.
All right, take a break. Coming up, the New York Giants are letting all-pro safety Landon Collins walk. Is that a good idea? That's next on First Things First.